gonna take you guys back to where I came from.
Holy shit.
Holy shit is right.
This is the house that I lived in as a little kid. That's when I got locked up for the first time. It's also another reason I haven't been back here in 11 years, because it's really just kind of a lot of trauma and a lot of bad memories from all of that. It's a very special day. I'm sitting on the Oregon coast. It's a different kind of episode for Kruesi Originals. I'm going home for the first time in 11 years. I'm gonna take you guys back to where I came from. I'm gonna take you back to what made me, what made Ryan Kruesi. The hardships, the heartache, the cool stuff, the fun times, the outdoors, the living. I'm gonna take you on a little adventure, a little town called Sweet Home. It's gonna be a tough emotional ride for me, to be honest. I haven't gone home for a reason. My parents are dead, most of my friends are dead, and I just kind of like bury that thing away and I kind of stay away from there. But first, we're gonna take you on a trip down the Oregon coast. We're gonna shred some mountain bikes and some really dope shit. And then, we're gonna go to Sweet Home, and I'm gonna show you why I am the way I am. We just left the hotel, and we're cruising down this little strip in Lincoln City, because my mom's friend owned a condo over here. My mom's friend was like 90, so we could just use the condo all the time. And we would come over here and stay all the time, and I would skate these streets as a kid. Been since 2015 was the last time I was here. It's been a long time. It's gonna take me a minute to remember things. All right, well, I don't know where I'm going here anymore, and I can't find anything that I wanted to go see of my old stomping grounds because I don't think they even exist. So we're gonna go mountain biking. Next stop, real dirt. So much stuff I didn't appreciate when I was a kid, you know?
Yeah.
Now, like, living in the desert for so many years, I come out here, I'm like, geez, it's so beautiful. I hated living in Oregon, hated it here. And now it's like, I appreciate the things that I took for granted, like the woods. God, I miss the woods. I miss this jungle. I lived in one of 6 rainforests in the world. The Oregon rainforest it's a real rainforest, and it's real dense. You're gonna see. We're gonna get into some deep woods on this trip. Deep woods. The Oregon coast is the best coast. I don't know how good the little camera does for this kind of view, but just made a quick pit stop. We're in Pacific City. It's super sick. There's a big ass rock back there. I don't think I've ever been here, quite honestly. Probably drove through it a bunch or been here as a kid and don't remember it, but you can drive right onto the beach. You can ride quads on the beach. Bunch of cool stuff. We're on our way to Buzzard Creek to do some mountain biking. Then next stop, Sweet Home, Oregon. I'm gonna show you where I grew up. All my old stomping grounds. See if the dirt jump park is still there. Maybe do a little shredding. It's gonna be pretty sick. Oh, it's gonna be so sick.
Yeah, dude. The steeps.
We just pulled up Buzzard Creek, all geared up. There's a massive jump line here. We're gonna see if I got the fear from smoking myself in Whistler. Holy shit! Oh shit! In Whistler. And we're gonna go knock the dust off. Go rip around. I say we go up and hit some of that tech first and see what that's all about.
Yeah.
And then we do some charging. Take you along for the ride. We're about to ride through dreams.
Dreams.
This is pure dreams. Here we go. Drop it in the shit. Oh my God, it feels so soft.
Yeah.
Oh, they blocked that off, huh?
Yeah, it is really slick.
Oh, dude.
Holy shit.
Down.
I got,
Look at that, dude.
holy shit.
Holy shit is right.
Should we take a look at it?
The loam. Roaming the loam. Holy f. Oh, woo. It's all real doable. There's a booter right here. It just like ski the back brakes.
Yeah.
You wanna go first or me?
You go.
Me. Not boosting that. It's pretty gravy. First trail down, sickest trail I've ever rode so far. Tech trail anyways. Loam, I get it, fully get it now. It's awesome. Like you're in a slide, but you're in a controlled slide.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can-
the back can slide and then the front will grip real nice.
Yeah, you can put it where you want to. My God. Oregon, I think Oregon's on my favorites right now. Yeah. I'm making it as hard as I can.
Yeah, dude.
Keeping the trail speed is like, yeah, me too, big time. Woo! Woo! Holy shit. That was a teeth clencher. Oh!
Holy shit.
Big old hip.
Oh, big hip. That's sick. I'm gonna hit that. Okay, another hip. Big old shark fin, dude. Yeah. Yeah. God damn. They're gnarly, dude. Casing. I'm definitely brake checking. Like if I wasn't brake checking, we'd probably clear them. Yeah. Yeah.
We just ate some food in Pacific City, Oregon. I had lobster, macaroni and cheese with Tillamook cheese because we're right near Tillamook. It was fantastic. And now we are on our way to Sweet Home, Oregon. We are about an hour and a half out. Not sure where we're staying or what we're doing, but we're going to go there, and I'm gonna take you guys on a nice tour of the first 30 years of my life and what took me into the motorcycle world and kind of steered my path the way that it is, and the whole story behind it, and it should be insightful. Well, here we are. We're in Sweet Home. We're on the bicycles. I'm on the Canyon Torque On. Ken Roxon. Trent's on the Canyon Torque On.
Standard.
And ooh, going down a real steep hill right now. Definitely need some new rear brake pads, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take you on a real tour. I'm gonna put this thing on my chest. It's gonna be like a moto vlog, but a pedaling moto vlog. I'm gonna show you where I grew up, where I used to live, my old house I used to own, my old stomping grounds. I came here last night, me and Trent drove around a bunch and I showed him a bunch of stuff, really expecting to see good old impoverished Sweet Home and show him how rough it was and how I grew up and all that. And it's not like that anymore. Like the sawmills are all open again, and it's nice. It's nice. My old park is nice. Like I didn't even see any crackheads or nothing. Like it's become a place that I would want to come vacation and hang out, and I kind of want to buy a house here. Look at this neighborhood. This was dirt bike trails, and we rode mountain bikes here when I was a kid. Like when I left, actually, many years ago. And now it's all developed, and we're staying in a baller house above the lake. Like it feels like there's some money and some economy here now. So I'm gonna show you stuff that's gonna look nice, and I'm gonna tell you stories about what it was like when I was a kid. There's the old railroad tracks. Ooh, let's do that. Shortcut to my house. Man, so this is the old railroad tracks that we're riding on right now. This is where all the lumber and all the logs, because this town was incorporated in like 1893, I believe. It used to be called Mossy Oak and Buckhead, and they merged in 1893 and became Sweet Home, Oregon. And it was not much of a town until the 1940s of World War II, when it became a logging boom because of the much needed lumber for the war machine that was going on, and it became huge. I think it had the Guinness record for most Lincoln Continentals per capita at one time. There's definitely more churches in one small place than anywhere else in the world. I don't even know how they could have this many churches and have enough people to go to them in this tiny town. It's a population of 10,200 now. When I lived here, it was around 7,000. It was booming until the 80s, when the hippies and the liberals started protesting all of the logging and shutting everything down to save the spotted owl, and that put thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of families out of work, and the economy basically just collapsed after that. And it was a pretty rough place to live in the 90s. A lot of crystal meth, a lot of drugs, a lot of crime. I'm sure there was a nice, I think that's the trail to my neighborhood. There was probably a lot of nice spots around here, and there was people that were living well and kids that had nice lives and stuff like that. I just didn't experience that side of Sweet Home. I grew up very poor, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. This might be a bit of a emotional ride for me, but I'll take you through it. I'm gonna show you around, and I'm gonna educate you a little bit. Man. Ooh, don't fall in. So, this is my old neighborhood. This up here was called Killer Hill. There used to be a cabin up there in the woods. There's a big hill climb up there, and this used to be all like mud bog. Up on that hill was an old cabin that a woman killed her kids and herself in, so it was called Killer Hill. There's a bunch of hill climbs. The Jepsons used to live here. It was a different house then. It was burned down and rebuilt. Most of these houses were not here when I lived here. They were much shittier houses that the city burned down. And then they built all these new ones. Like all these are new. This was much more like this red one right here. That's what I mean when I came through here and I wanted to tell Trent about and show him my old neighborhood and expecting him to be like, oh my God, you lived like this? But it's actually, I'm like, fuck, I would live here. It's nice. It looks nice. We got gentrified. This is the house that I lived in as a little kid. My parents bought this when I was a kid. It was built in 1930, and I bought it when I was 22, and I lived here for a long time. That garage right back there is where I started building cars. Had a whole bunch of cars in the driveway, all his cars in this driveway, always hanging out on that front porch partying down. Like this was my childhood stomping grounds right here. I spent a lot of time in that place, a lot of time in this neighborhood. I lived there till I was 28 years old, and I sold it for $110,000, which was pretty good money at the time. I think it's worth $400 now. It's 1,100 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. Very, very small. Hi, little buddy. So we're pulling out of my neighborhood. We're gonna go down into Sankey Park. Now, Sankey Park was the spot. That's where if you want to do a little something, that's where you go do a little something. And the people that hung out there were rough. Me and my buddy and my other buddy we all lived down the street from each other. We spent a lot of time down in this park digging dirt jumps. BMX was my life growing up. Everything. Running the streets. Oh, I really didn't want to get mud on my back. This is the spot. Sankey Park. This dirt jump park has been here since I was probably 20 years old. Me and some friends of mine spent our whole youth up here shoveling and digging jumps and everything that we could, to where the city got so sick of it, they brought in dump truck loads of dirt and put up some dirt jumps that we then built into everything else. This right here was the big spot. Where those trees are right there, that was a big hit right there. I used to do 360s, no-handers off this all the time. There's a trail that came down through here, and we just spend all day long hitting this big hit up by that tree, which, long gone. There was also so many huge trees through here that you couldn't see the bottom half of the park, which the bottom half of the park did not look like that at all. We'll get to that later on. But they cut a lot of the trees have died, a lot of stuff like that. It's changed a lot. This used to be picnic tables in different places with a lot of sketchy motherfuckers sitting around doing sketchy shit in here. There was a lot of sketchy shit going on around here, and you kind of had to be brave to roll around the old Sankey Park. This park right here is why I ride motorcycles. This park is why I'm riding a mountain bike right now. This park is what put me on 2 wheels. I've been in this park since I was 5 years old, hitting dirt jumps and riding a BMX bike. And this was everything. So I think we're here. We should probably hit a lap. Maybe a little something. I can't believe it's still the same shape. Somebody had to do some kind of work on it, because couldn't have stayed this way for 30 years without it. There was a bunch of kids on BMX bikes here yesterday too, which was pretty sick. Woo. Last time I ever rode this, I ate bad shit right here. Man, the jumps are more just like, I guess you could jump that. Not much of a landing. Well, that was fun. Little sesh. So this parking lot right here, when I was 17 years old, this is where we used to meet people because I used to sell a lot of Uncle Wally was a cook, Vietnam vet. He was like the cook and my dad was the junkie. So we sold a lot of basically to get by and you know, keep the habit up. But I was parked right here in like a 1984 Monte Carlo, two of my buddies. We had McDonald's straws that you put a teener of dope in it. We were selling them to a guy named which you're a rat bitch, Ronnie. He childhood friend, knew him a long time, selling him some, and he was a paid informant for the police. So he was over there, we sell him some, he takes off, woo, I get swarmed, get busted. So I was already on probation for drugs already, and then that was kind of the final straw. That's when I got locked up for the first time. I was put in the Yes House. It's in Albany, Oregon. It was called Youth Entering Sobriety. It was a juvenile hall for drug offenders. And I spent, 6 months in there. Bullshitted my way through it, got out fast. And went right back to the street. Went right back to doing what I was doing. Right back to hanging out with my dad, the wrong people. And I will continue that story in a little bit. Right now we're gonna go down the bottom of the park and I'm gonna show you the Sankey. This sidewalk is new. When I was a kid, this was Sankey Hill. We used to get a lot of snow here in the winter, and this would just be a big old sled competition. I rode 100 skateboards down this thing, ate shit so many times as a kid. Man, this is Sankey Park. This gazebo right here, this was the spot. It looks a lot different now, like it's been redone, but this has all been redone. None of this was here. This was just wood, forest. All this is new. That wasn't even open land over there. And there wasn't nice people hanging out in the park like that. It was, usually if somebody was hanging out in this park, they were a dope fiend back in my day. This is where we all hung out during high school. This is where all the hoods hung out, you know, the outcast kids, the kids that, you know, we didn't fit in with the norm. When I was young, this creek, this used to be a big pond, huge pond, and it would be full of geese and ducks and all kinds of crazy stuff. And you come over and feed them, there'd be hundreds of them here. And then in the wintertime, it would freeze over and people would ice skate and play on the ice. It was sick, but it's just gone, dried up. I don't know if it's climate change or whatever the fuck is real, but I don't even think they get much snow here anymore, which is wild. Weddell Bridge, look at this. That's the sweet home I remember. This is the high school. Now, granted, that wasn't there. The high school was just that shit over there. It looks a lot different from when I lived here. And I went to that little building over there. It's called Alternative Ed. That's where I went to high school. I was in the special kids class. They had a jail cell in there. It was all blue. The little tiny metal mesh window, they'd lock you in when you acted out. And it was it's where the kids that had been arrested and things before went to school. And that's where I went. All right, we're gonna try and sneak into the high school a little bit so I can ride back and show you where I went to school, which I went to school. I dropped out of school when I was 15 years old. I am about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through my freshman year. I dropped out and my mom kicked me out and I went to the street. So from 15 to 17, I lived on the street. 17 is when I got locked up. I got out when I was 18. And then I moved back in with my mom. And I lived with my mom till I was, I want to say 21, I would say. And then I moved to Lebanon and moved out with some homies. It's the old high school. I had biology class right in here. Sweet Home High School, home of the Huskies. Man, this was my biology class. The teacher was a football coach, so he would leave class all the time. I smoked weed in that class one time when the teacher was gone. pulled her out, smoked a bowl right in that class. It's good times. And the 90s were definitely the fall of the livelihood here. And it was also the meth pandemic of Oregon. It wasn't just Sweet Home. Like, meth was so bad everywhere in Oregon. But I mean so bad, when I was in high school, everybody was on meth. A lot of the preppy chicks were doing it to lose weight. A lot of the dudes were on meth. I sold fucking meth to school teachers. So Sweet Home's got two main streets. You got this is Long Street, and then Main Street's up front. We're gonna take a little left. I went to grade school right here. When I was a kid, this was a playground right here. I got my eye split open in this playground by a teeter-totter when I was a kid, and I went to grade school right here. It was part of Eastland Community Chapel. It was a Christian school. Yes, I went to Christian school for many years growing up. And this was Eastland Community Chapel. This was the church. My mom was extremely religious. But when I was in 8th grade, the congregation called her in after church one day and told them I was not welcome back at school or church anymore because I was a bad influence on the other kids. Because I had long hair and I rode a skateboard and wore baggy clothes and just didn't fit in with the norm that I spoke of earlier. So my mom never went to church again. That was the end of that. Here's the high school. I don't even recognize it because it's a completely different building. Oh my God, that's the stair set right there though. We're pulling in here, we're gonna ride that. These people. I can't believe the stairs. They kept the stairs. So when I was a kid, this was the ultimate skate spot in town, which it looks like kids are still skating it by the looks of the curbs. But you couldn't skate here. See? No skateboarding, no bikes, no wheelies. And the cops would chase us. And we would skate this stair set, this right here, over and over and over again until the cops came and chased us away. And then one time, we used to get a bunch of Japanese foreign exchange students here. And we got to put on a show. Hello. Me and my friend Dave Kirby, we were like two of the skaters in town that they all knew about, so that some teachers tracked us down and asked us to put on a skate show for like 100 Japanese students that were in town for something that they used to come through here for. I don't really know what that was about. But we got to put a skate show on there, and it was fucking best day of skating in my life and the best spot in town. That was called Snappy Service. That was the fattest burger spot in town, right across the street from the high school. This is where everybody hung out when I was a kid. You could get 3 cheeseburgers for $1. Fire cheeseburgers. This is the Speedy Convenient Mart. I worked here from like 17 to 20 for a guy named Christian Kim. He was awesome. I wonder how he's doing these days, but this parking lot was the spot. Everybody would come here at lunch, and me and my hood-ass friends would hang out on this sidewalk right here, and everybody that walked by, we'd extort them for money. And that's how we would eat, and that's how we would pay to live. It was, you know, give me $1. You're coming by, you're giving me $1. Dollar. We'd do that all through lunch and get money to go eat, buy drugs, whatever the Yeah, so when I worked at this place, I did a lot of meth. And my boss liked that I did meth because I was a working son of a bitch and he liked me being tuned up. So that's just kind of the way we rolled. Oh, look, it's a fellow biker. Going back to the meth pandemic and all of that, my Uncle Wally was a Vietnam vet. He was a tunnel rat in Vietnam. He was very tiny. And he was a badass, and he lived pretty much, never left Vietnam because he lived in the woods, he stayed in the woods and just cooked meth. He was the meth dealer and the meth cook, and I was a very young junkie. I started doing meth when I was 14 years old with my dad, started selling meth, started running that. So by the time I was 15 years old, I was living 26 miles from the pavement up the Calapooya River with my dad, my Uncle Wally, and some other Vietnam vets in a homemade encampment up there, learning how to cook meth with some very, very scary individuals. My childhood was not one anybody would really want to experience. You know, I always learned that you always kept a slammer around, a junkie that shot dope, because that's how you knew if your mix was right, because if he died, she was too strong. If he didn't, she was good to go. Cooked a lot of meth, did a lot of meth. We picked moss and picked chitum and different things and sell them to florist shops by the pound to make money on the side. Bunch of wild shit. It was quite the life. It's quite the life to get away from. It's also another reason I haven't been back here in 11 years, because it's really just kind of a lot of trauma and a lot of bad memories from all of that. A lot of just being a strung out junkie piece of shit that I don't really want to remember. I've been clean for 27 years, I would say. And I highly recommend living a clean lifestyle. So this bar right across the street is the Bohemian Tavern, the Bohemian Club, which she needs a paint job. My grandpa opened this bar, I don't know when, long time ago. He was from Pisak, Czechoslovakia. My grandpa was a Bohemian gypsy, which I think why I stay tan most of the time. But Bohemian gypsy, so it was called the Bohemian. He had a nice illegal gambling room in the back. All that good shit. That was during the logging boom. He was an entrepreneur. He owned laundromats here in town, bar, even owned a grocery store at one time. And that's what he did. He lived in the bar. He lived the bar life. He died young from the bar life. I think he died of a heart attack around 65-ish somewhere. I'm not 100% sure. I was 5. Both my grandpas died around when I was 5. My dad's dad, my grandpa Walt, he was found dead up above Miller's Cave. It was an old bar downtown that's long gone. My Uncle Wally found him, actually. My dad died young too. He died at 58. Just hard life, hard living. Junkies, you know, like just booze, drugs, shit that ruins your life. And it was just bad here. It was just kind of the norm. It was just the way to live. There was no economy, there was no jobs unless you were logging, and logging wasn't paying shit, and it was horrible. And there were some sawmills, and most of them were closed for a long time, which they're all open again. There's even a new sawmill in town, like Kruesi, that's awesome. It's so awesome to see all that happening. This is the Eastland Museum. It's a logging museum. My grandpa's old saws are in that place. My grandpa's got a lot of history in this. The Kruesis were an infamous family in Sweet Home. They're well known. When you come to Sweet Home, you always knew you don't f with the Kruesis and you don't f with the Victors. Those were the two families that were not to be trifled with a long time ago, which there's not really any Kruesis left here anymore. We're kind of all done and gone. OG logging right there. The big timber out here, real trees in Oregon, 200 footers. So when I lived in Sweet Home, the population was like 7,500 people. Right now, I'm gonna take y'all on just a quick trip right down Main Street, right through Sweet Home. You're gonna get the full tilt. Used to be a jump right here back in the day. This Money Man Pond right here, this used to be Sweet Home Video. Well, they put a fence up. We used to hide back there and smoke weed. This was an arcade and a pool hall, and this is where we hung out. This was the spot. This is where the shit went down. This is a dispensary. This building right here was our MMA gym when I fought. Me and 4 guys kind of started a thing in a buddy's garage and got big enough to where we had a gym downtown and nobody paid dues. You just had to train for 2 months, then you had to take a fight and you had to sell tickets, and that's how we paid for the gym. And the high school donated its mats to us. We ruled Oregon with an iron fist. We held every belt for a long time, the team did. Oh my God. This bar across the street, it's called the Downtown Lounge now. This was the bar. This was a lot of fist fighting in that parking lot over there and a lot of drinking in that place over there. I was also in a hardcore band. We used to play some shows there a lot when I was young. That Sun Lane Stones, that was Miller's Cave. My grandpa died up in that place up above. So this is the railroad tracks. This splits town. There's this side of the tracks, and then there's that side of the tracks. When I was a kid, this side of the tracks was rough. This was very, very poor. Very, very, very impoverished. And very much so just a lot of shack. When I was a teenage lad, me and my friends used to acquire vehicles from time to time. We would bring them down on this road and we would get them going really, really fast. and we would jump this right here. Whoop! I have been airborne farther than you could possibly believe in usually Toyotas, because they started easily with a screwdriver for some reason. But you could jump it both ways. You could go this way, launch it real high and have a nice landing. But we would sky over that thing in cars back in the day. Oh yeah, Toyotas, you could open Toyotas with any Toyota key back in the day.
Yeah.
And then you could start them with a fucking screwdriver. Nice. So we'd steal fucking Toyotas, trip pickups all the time and just launch them. Whoop! Not to say you should never do that. Like I said, I was a shithead when I was young. None of the things I'm talking about am I trying to glorify them in any way, shape, or form. I think every way that I was living back then was dog shit, and I'm not proud of it in any way. It was just a product of my environment. I honestly believe and strongly in that. This is the Santiam River, which that island was way more this way a long time ago. And off that island, there's a sandbar out there. Eels. We used to catch big, like foot-long plus eels off there. We'd snag them with just hooks and fishing line. And the river is deep right now, and the water's high. First place I ever kissed a girl was right here. Right as a little pull out. I was playing down in the woods down there. Had a fort. Some girls went walk by. I was hollering at them. Came up and I kissed this little chick. She ended up getting murdered. You can, there's a documentary, it's on YouTube and I think Amazon Prime. It's called The Girls of Highway 20. There was a serial killer going up and down this highway killing girls in the like 80s or 90s or something. And she was one of them. Surprised I remember as much of this as I do. Had a lot of pretty bad concussions and I honestly don't remember a lot of my youth, which maybe I just blocked that out anyways, but I could go a lot more into what it was like with my dad, my uncle, and that kind of life and doing all that, but most of that shit I don't really like to talk about. It's kind of fucking hard on me. All right, well, we're gonna go back and get a truck. It's at my cousin's house. We're gonna load the bikes up, and then I'm gonna take you out to the lake, show you some, take a right, take some old, show you some cliff jumps, show you some of the stuff we used to do for fun out there. I gotta stop by the cemetery and see my mom and my sister, and we're gonna get the hell out of here. So this was a church. We called it the Church of Skating because this big parking lot right here behind the church, we had a quarter pipe that we hid back there and we would drag it out and ride it. And it is fully toast. Fully overgrown. That's wild. Nature has taken it over. So we are at my last stop. This is Second Bridge. This is the big bridge that everybody jumps off of. This is a sweet home test of manhood. A lot of times jumping off this, a lot of homies. And we're gonna go check it out. We ain't gonna jump because it's been in Arizona too long, and this water, we'd probably freeze to death, to be honest. You guys good? Yeah, give me something good. Hell yeah.
That was way better than last time. They're waiting on you on it.
Let's go. Beautiful to see kids are still doing this. Spent my whole youth jumping off this bridge over and over and over again, and the water is super high right now, which is crazy. You can see across the river, there's a really big cliff right over there, and we used to jump that thing all the time. I don't know if you can see that through the fire smoke, but it was a big one. I guess the city blocked that off and don't let you in there no more because some people were getting smoked, but it's good to see that things don't change much. Well, that was sick. We got to hit the spot, see some kids jumping. Super dope to see the kids are still out here doing hooligan shit, jumping off the bridge. Really rad time. Really good being here. We kind of burned a bunch of time, so we stopped by Sweet Home Choppers, a little chopper shop here in town. Just show a little respect, see some of the old homies, and ran into a really, really close friend of mine that I hadn't seen in a long time. I didn't even know he was living here again, and it worked out awesome. Brian, it was goddamn good to see you, man. It was really fucking rad to run into the old boys and see everybody's doing good too. And it's crazy how much this town has changed. Like, it's changed for the good, and it's pretty fucking awesome. Because I mean, it was rough and some rough times growing up here, and it's just different. It seems like there's prosperity here now, and the town is growing for the good. And it looks good. It looks like I would not wait 11 years to come home. I used to come home and visit and just get sick to my stomach knowing I had to come back here, and now I kind of want to come back here and stay. Maybe even get a house here or something, because it's really nice. It's really nice here. Sweet home Oregon. Who'd have thought? It's a beautiful place. It's always been a beautiful place. It's just been, I don't know, it was rough. It was rough memories for this old boy. But life's changed. Life is better. I'd say no matter what kind of shitty situation you're in, because anybody can make it. The whole you got lucky or you got this or you got whatever excuse you got, it's just fucking excuses, because I was a homeless dope fiend. And now I own Kruesi Originals and we crush it. And I travel and I do all this rad shit and ride motorcycles and get paid and get to fucking race mountain bikes and do so much fun stuff because I worked my ass off to do it. You too can do that. Anybody can do it. Anybody can be successful. Anybody can live their dream. You just have to fucking do it. Get off the couch and get to it. Stop thinking about it and be about it. That's really all it takes. You can do it. Get outside, get active. Thanks for watching. It's KruesiOriginals.com. Thanks for going along this ride. It's a video I want to do for a long time, but it was a hard one for me. But it turned out really nice, and it turned out to be a fucking awesome time. I'm going to Bend to see some family and ride some more mountain bikes. Peace! Today's going to be a learning day. It's a how to install a clutch